This is KPRN-DB, broadcasting worldwide from southeast Oklahoma, USA, to parts unknown.
The new Be Prepared for Christmas package from Sun Ovens contains everything you need to harness the power of the sun for cooking, water, and dehydrating. The perfect gift for the preppers or outdoor enthusiast on your shopping list. A Sun Oven uses the sun's power to bake, boil, or steam food, heat water for purification or personal hygiene, or solar dehydrate. When you use the sun's power on sunny days, you preserve your fuel storage for rainy days. Sun-baked foods retain moisture, have less shrinkage, and do not burn. Sun-baked roasts are tastier and more succulent, and sun-baked bread has unparalleled taste and texture. The new Be Prepared for Christmas package lets you roast an 18-pound turkey. For the past 26 years, Sun Ovens has been proudly made in the U.S., are durable, and have a long life and come with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Don't be fooled by cheap imitations. For a discount coupon, visit sunoven.com/podcast. That's sunoven.com/podcast.
Have you ever wanted to generate your own supply of electrical power, even save money on your electric bill? If so, this is going to be the most important message you will ever hear. Solar power generators are now available. These emergency backup systems provide life-saving electrical power when you need it most. Unlike gas generators, a solar generator runs quietly, emits no fumes, and produces electricity from the sun. It's like having an electric power plant running quietly in your own home. Run sump pumps, shortwave radios, computers, and even keep your food from spoiling. Whether it's hurricanes, ice storms, brownouts, or blackouts, you'll never suffer through painful power outages again. And here's the best news, a remarkable fall truckload sale going on right now that gets you $1,700 in bonuses when you buy a solar generator. To find out why solar generators are the best generators and get $1,700 for doing so, go to falltruckloadsale.com. That's falltruckloadsale.com. Generate your own supply of electricity. Go to falltruckloadsale.com. That's falltruckloadsale.com.
Feeling like there are too many pressures and demands on you? Losing sleep worrying about tests and schoolwork? Eating on the run because your schedule is just too busy? You may be under too much stress, and it may be affecting your mind. Get your mental edge back with Nootropic Mind Power from MindRegard.com. Nootropic Mind Power is not a drug, but a natural supplement. Its 12 powerful ingredients are natural and non-GMO, plus it's gluten-free, wheat-free, and formulated by Americans for Americans by an NSF-certified laboratory. Nootropic Mind Power is available at MindRegard.com, spelled MindRegard.com, and comes with a 100% money-back guarantee. Free your mind with Nootropic Mind Power Cognitive Supplement from MindRegard.com. MindRegard. Clearly see tomorrow and yesterday. Today.
For starters, this is not Barack Obama. The Prepper Podcast Radio Network has started a drawing for a high-point 45 caliber handgun provided to them by MKS Supply. Now, I have the power to take that gun away from you because the United Nations has given me that power. I don't need Congress, and I don't need the Constitution. All I need is a reason to take away your weapons. So, if you're feeling lucky, go to prepperpodcast.com. That's PREPPERPODCAST, prepperpodcast.com, to see the rules, terms and conditions, and to enter the drawing. When I take away your guns, your Bibles might be next. Again, this is not Barack Obama.
The truth is out there. Knowledge is power. This is the Prepper Podcast Radio Network.
Hello, America. Coming to you live from our hideaway tucked away in the Blue Ridge Mountains in 1 second after territory. This is Soul Survivor Radio. This is the Soul Survivor speaking with you. Welcome to another episode, another broadcast, another opportunity to discuss prepping, the things that address prepping, and situations and circumstances that are taking place in our world around us, along with the biblical perspective of how they align with end-time events and the direction that our country is taking in regards to a one-world government. As we open up our broadcast today, I want to take time to give a serious and somber, heartfelt condolence to the families of the victims of the shooting in Connecticut on Friday. It was a heartless, cowardly act, one that is undescribable. There are not words that are available to mankind to describe or offer counseling and comfort and consolement to those families out there. As a pastor, my heart goes out to you today. I want you to realize this. We love you. We are praying with you. We realize you have a very, very hard road ahead of you, putting your lives back together again and trying to find some way to continue on with the loss of your children. Again, you have my heartfelt condolences, and if there is anyone out there who feels that I can be of any help, can offer any words, can answer any questions, please feel free to email me, prepperspastor at frontier.com, prepperspastor at frontier.com. Preppers, this goes for you as well. We will be addressing how this applies to you and I later in this broadcast. Right now, I do want to announce another giveaway that is taking place from Preppers Podcast, and as in doing so, instead of me trying to sell this and trying to pitch this and promote this, I want you to listen to this very special announcement based upon a very special person. Please take time to listen.
For starters, this is not Barack Obama. The Prepper Podcast Radio Network has started a drawing for a high-point 45 caliber handgun provided to them by MKS Supply. Now, I have the power to take that gun away from you because the United Nations has given me that power. I don't need Congress, and I don't need the Constitution. All I need is a reason to take away your weapons. So, if you're feeling lucky, go to prepperpodcast.com. That's PREPPERPODCAST, prepperpodcast.com, to see the rules, terms and conditions, and to enter the drawing. When I take away your guns, your Bibles might be next. Again, this is not Barack Obama.
Okay, folks. What do you think about that? Handgun, 45 caliber, high point, MKS supplied. Go to prepperspodcast.com. Details are there. You can register. Of course, employees and family members and broadcasters and everyone else of Prepper Podcast News, PPRN is not available. We don't qualify. I can't win it. I can't register to win it. So, that doesn't stop you from going out and doing it. Register, follow the rules. Hope you win. Best of luck to everyone that listens to Soul Survivor Radio. And I will add this. I certainly hope if you go and register for this that you are responsible enough to own it. And I certainly hope that you're safe enough to own it, and I certainly hope that you're dependable and reliable, and that you're not getting someone to enter a contest for you because you yourself are not legally responsible or capable of having a handgun or a weapon. And let me say this too, I hope this doesn't happen. I hope the people that listen to Soul Survivor Radio are responsible enough and are citizens enough to not be doing this for someone else who's not legally allowed to have a weapon. This seems to be something that is getting more and more prevalent in our society. People that are not supposed to have firearms are getting their hands on firearms. Now, I'm a Second Amendment person. I will always be a Second Amendment person. But folks, there's some people in this country that have no business handling a firearm. Liberal Democrats are one. They have no business. They can't properly handle the English language. Anything, let alone a firearm. Let's just be real about it. But second, there are irresponsible people, and those irresponsible people are getting hold of firearms. And preppers, this is something that should make you angry because, by golly, it makes you look bad. Now think about that. The behavior of the man who shot these children on Friday does nothing more but make you and I look bad. Now, I'm not talking about the spin. We are sitting here and we are barking week in and week out on this broadcast and many broadcasts just like it. We are adamantly defending the Second Amendment rights of individuals and citizens in the United States of America just to have spineless cowards like this man get hold of weapons who has no business having them and takes them to a schoolhouse and uses them on children. It is people like you and I, sound, solid Second Amendment citizens, that are allowing these jerks and nut jobs to get these weapons. So, we don't know how. We know that he got them from his mother, who wound up being killed in the process. Don't know how that happened, but we don't know all the details of this, but you have got to be realistic and understand, and take the initiative to acknowledge that there are some people in this country that do not need to have their hands on or access to firearms. Now, I want people to register for this free gun giveaway. I want someone to win it, but I want that person to be responsible. And I want the government to keep their darn nose out of it. But they're not going to unless responsible people like you and I step up with a solution to the problem. That's what I want to spend a few minutes talking about today. We rattle our chains all the time about being Second Amendment this, Second Amendment that, the right to bear arms, the whole militia, the whole thing about the Second Amendment, and I'm right there with you. I'm sounding the alarm. I'm waving the flag just as high as anyone else is. But let me ask you a question. How far beyond that have you gone? How far behind just saying, I have a Second Amendment right, have you gone? You cannot deny that there are nut jobs out there getting hold of weapons. How do you stop it? I'm challenging the preppers today. How do you stop it? If we can police this and if we can stop it ourselves, then the government has no reason to step into it. But if we just sit back and claim Second Amendment, Second Amendment, Second Amendment, guess what? They're going to put a spin on it. They're going to take it to some behind-the-scenes, closed-door legislation, to a bunch of spineless politicians that are seeking re-election, and they're going to give away your gun rights and my gun rights in the name of a vote. Now, preppers, this is coming down to our responsibility. How are we going to fix this? We can't bring back children. And I'm not saying, by any means, I am not saying what happened in Connecticut is the responsibility of preppers or gun owners. But what I am saying is that if responsible people like ourselves, citizens, responsible, God-fearing, loving, kind, considerate people like you and I, if we do not step up, the spineless jellyfish politicians that are out there turning these tragedies into political propaganda are going to spin it for more of their socialist agenda. Now, if we want to let that happen, all we have to do is just continue to sit back with our hands folded, with our mouths shut, and every once in a while flash the Second Amendment and say, I'm protected, I'm protected. And guess what? One morning you're going to wake up and you're going to be in socialist America, and the Second Amendment's not going to be worth the paper it's written on. So, are we going to take the initiative to step up and offer solutions to nut jobs like this? I think we need to. I think the preppers and the gun owners, the NRA, the gun owners groups of America, I think we need to be on the front lines of offering solutions to these problems. Solutions that we are willing to live with as gun owners, and solutions that will help. Are we going to get rid of all of these cases? Absolutely not, because what drove this man was evil. Plain and simple, it was evil. I don't know what possessed him. Well, I know what possessed him. I don't know how it possessed him. The devil himself had control of that man. That's the only thing that I can say that would cause someone to behave this way. And it was the same way with the shooting in the theaters. The same way with the shootings that have taken place all around. These folks are going out on the street corners and they're getting hold of guns on street corners. Out of the trunk of somebody's car. Or some responsible gun owner in the family is buying them and keeping them in an unsafe location, keeping them with ready access to ammunition where no one is hindered from getting it, and these nut jobs have access to it. Or even worse yet, responsible gun owners are buying weapons or being the front person to buy the weapons and giving them to irresponsible people. In either case, it's going to be responsible gun owners that suffer. You and I will be the ones that suffer, while these nut jobs will continue to follow Satan and his crowd, and they'll continue to get what they want, while we will be turned loose to be victims of them, and it will be our own fault because we stood by silently and let it happen, and we didn't offer a solution for it. And if you're gullible enough to think that crowd in Washington is going to actually come up with a viable solution, then frankly, you deserve to have your guns taken. If you're that ignorant and you're that stupid and you're that in tune with the political scene and you're so party affiliated and party minded that you actually believe that bunch of nonsense, you deserve everything that happens to you. So, step up, preppers. Let's talk about this thing. Let's get it out on the table. And us, you and I, the responsible people in this country, the citizens, the patriots, the people who care about this country, let's put some responsible stuff forward. We're intelligent people. We're reasonable people. We're responsible people. Let's put some solutions forward. Will the politicians take them? I don't know. If we get them to the right person at the right time in the right way, we might make some headway here. But we do not need to continue to watch bloodshed happen while we sit by silence on the sidelines and say you can't do this and you can't do that, because it's gotten to a point where if we don't offer solutions, they're going to create what they think is a solution. They're going to do it in the name of politics and in the name of socialism, And that's going to be it. It's going to be the beginning of the end for the Constitution in the United States. Now, when I talk about this, I always get some feedback. Somebody out there always comes back and they always say, well, it will be a civil war, it will be this, it will be that, there'll be a revolution, there'll be this. Let me share something with you from my experience as a pastor. I have watched the church become forcefully silenced because of judicial interference, because of political interference, because of legislation. Over the last 30 to 40 years, I have watched the church willingly sit down and shut up because they were told to, because it offended someone. Now, whether you believe it or not, most evangelical Christians support the Second Amendment. But folks, if they will sit down and if they will shut up over their Savior because some long-winded blabbermouth politician or some long-winded judge that's been paid off by some special interest group says, because I say so, you have to do it, then if they will do that, I got a question for you. How many gun owners out there, if there would be some type of a uprising, how many are there out there that would actually have enough backbone and enough guts to see it through to the end? Not very many. And the number would be so small it would be an insignificant force. What I'm telling you is, what you're saying sounds good, it's got great talking points, but you don't have enough people to pull it off right now. There's not enough people in America that have anything to fight for. The Second Amendment is not enough for most Americans to fight for. Neither is the separation of church and state, for that matter. If Americans no longer cherish their liberty enough to fight for it, and they no longer cherish their God enough to fight for it, and they no longer cherish their right to keep and bear arms to fight for it, what reason do they have to fight? Now, there's some things to really think about. Say, well, our founding fathers fought. But remember something about our founding fathers. Our founding fathers came from a continent of oppression. They had something to fight for. They came from a generation of people who had nothing. They were oppressed. They came here to move away from that oppression, to find freedom from oppression. They knew they had something to fight for, something to get away from. We have a generation today who doesn't feel like they have anything to fight for. They were born in freedom. They have lived in freedom. They haven't seen oppression. They haven't seen government socialism. They haven't seen any of the things that are being threatened today, and they don't have a mental comprehension of it. We are at the turning point of losing every constitutional liberty and right that our founding fathers gave us, because we don't have enough people who have enough backbone to stand up and make a difference. I'm not calling for an armed resistance. I am just simply stating an observation. There are some stupid people out there that are getting hold of weapons that have no right getting them. And at times, there are good-intentioned people putting these people in contact with these weapons, thinking that they will never do anything or not having any problems with them. But folks, we're going to have to find a solution here. And if the gun owners don't find a solution, if we don't find something that works in America, then it's going to be done for us. And when it's done for us, I can assure you we are not going to like it, but there's not going to be one thing we're going to be able to do about it. Now, where do we go from here? Think about it. Seriously put some thought into it. What do you suggest What do you suggest that needs to be put in place to properly address this problem? Where you can keep your right to bear arms, where you can keep your right to weapons, where you can keep your right to having it in the privacy of your home for your own personal use and enjoyment, and not have to worry about government intrusion or government interference. You want to keep your Second Amendment rights? Fine. But what do we do about keeping guns out of nut jobs, out of their hands? That's a problem that we all have to deal with. And so far, I mean, the NRA steps up and they fight the gun legislations and they fight this stuff. But in reality, when you're talking about somebody that is evil and wicked enough to take the lives of innocent children, it's gotten to a point where people are not going to listen to constitutional rights anymore. They're going to make decisions based upon fear and based upon the political talking points and the socialist talking points of the Democratic Party and of the gun haters and of those people. And all they're going to do is politicize this stuff, and they're going to use it for a springboard to get what they want. Now, are we going to give it to them, or are we going to give them options? That's what it comes down to. So, with that said and with that done, Preppers Podcast, PPRN News, and the good folks that sponsor PPRN News are sponsoring a gun giveaway. PreppersPodcast.com has all the details. Go to that website. You can click on there. You can get all the information. And you can go from there and register to win. And I certainly hope you do. And I hope whoever wins it has years and years and years of enjoyment out of it. And I hope you're responsible enough to take care of it. I hope you're responsible enough to keep it up out of the way where innocent people can't get harmed by it, where uneducated, untrained people have no access to it, and where those who have no business having access to it can't get to it either. So, what are you going to do? Excuse me. Go to PreppersPodcast.com. Look up the gun giveaway link on the upper left-hand corner of the screen. Click on it. Go there. Register. And I hope you win. So, with 2012 coming to a close, Christmas is just around the corner, just a few weeks away. And I hope you're set up, you and your family are set up to have a very Merry Christmas, and I hope you are prepared to celebrate the birth of our Savior, Jesus Christ. I hope you can say that you know Jesus Christ as your Lord and as your Savior today. It will certainly help in the crazy hustle and bustle world that we live in. We have turned life into such a hustle and bustle that, frankly, we have turned it into something that God did not want it turned into. We put ourselves in a position where we are running at the speed of light. Everything is a point-and-click society. Instead of computers and technology being used as a tool for us to accomplish what we need to accomplish, it has become our slave master. We now let it dictate and run our lives. Instead of us controlling the technology, technology is controlling us. Let me encourage you. Take time this holiday season, this time with Christmas coming around, take time with your family. Take time to sit down and watch a good family video. One that I recommend, a DVD or a Blu-ray or whatever you can get it on. If you can find a copy of The Homecoming, get it and watch it. It's really a blessing to my family. We really enjoy watching it, and it is the movie, full-length 2-hour movie that was done by CBS in the early 70s. It was the pilot, the movie that brought about the television series The Waltons. And it's a very good family-oriented, clean-cut Christmas program that deals with family. Take time to hug your children. Take time to hold your wife and tell her that you love her. Take time to hold your husband, tell him that you love him. Take time to be with your family and don't worry about email. Shut down the email program. Turn off the smartphones that aren't so smart. Shut down some things and just take time to be with your family. Spend some time with them. As a matter of fact, when you're putting together things to do for 2013, why not put together some family activities? Why not plant a garden? A vegetable garden. I would like to think as a prepper, you would already have some gardening in your prepping background or in your prepping skill sets. But if you don't, 2013 is a good time to begin that, to start learning that. Take this winter, read about it, research it, study it, do it as a family. Talk about what you want to plant and then learn how to do it so that when the time is right, you can step out and you can do these things. These are good learning experiences for the entire family. It's good, wholesome, hard work that means something. And that's something that's important. That is something that is missing in our lives today. We spend too much time letting video games babysit our children. We spend too much time letting movies plant ideas into our minds and take us on fantasy trips that we know we can't do anything about. Things that we can't relate to, things that we can't work with. We all have our own individual little world that we live in. And yet, at the same time, we live under the same house, and we have sometimes as many as 4, 5, or 6 different lifestyles going at the same time, and nobody understands what the other person is doing or why they're doing it. Take time to be with your family. Take time to tell them you love them. Take time to learn things that can bond you together. Those are important. Those are very important. So, what do you think America will look like next Christmas? What do you think will happen with the physical cliff, with the economy in America? I know I listen to a lot of this stuff, and I listen with anxiety because I'm interested in hearing the solution. Yet I don't hear one. I have yet to hear a solution to the problem. Everything I hear pushes us out 10 years. Well, we're going to save this many trillions of dollars over 10 years. We're going to save this much money, or we're going to prevent this kind of spending for 10 years. Over a 10-year period, we'll be able to save this or develop that. And if the other side won't take my idea, then it's going to mean catastrophe. It's going to be a disaster. In other words, what I'm hearing, America, is that we are headed to an economic disaster, something that has not been seen by this country ever in its existence. And frankly, what I'm hearing from these talking heads out of Washington is that there is nothing we can do about it. We're headed that way. And it's probably going to take place sometime within this 10-year window because, in all reality, Barack Obama has won 4 more years. That's one term. Okay, out of 10 years, that leaves 6 years remaining. That is 1.5 terms of another president. So you have another president, and then either they win the re-election or you have another president inside of that 10 years. So you mean to tell me that you actually think I am stupid enough to believe that any president succeeding Barack Obama is going to leave Barack Obama's measures in place? They go out, and the same way with this Congress. This Congress will start changing hands in 2 more years. So they're putting together a 10-year plan. That is 2 more cycles of Congress, plus a half cycle. So we have this half cycle, and then we have 2 more terms of Congress on top of that. So you mean to tell me that you actually think I am stupid enough to believe that what you put in place today and sign in place in the next couple of weeks for a 10-year deal is going to withstand 2 more terms of Congress? Baloney. You're blowing smoke. What do you think, as a prepper, what do you think America will look like next year? Now, when you get that image ingrained in your mind, how are you going to prepare for it? How prepared are you? Now, we see a great big push, and have been a great big push for a few years now, on defense, self-defense, protecting, taking care of, keeping everything. And I'm right there with you. Don't think I'm not. I'm right there with you. But you better have something to protect. You better have something to take care of. How much food do you have on hand? How dependable is it? How shelf stable is it? What kind of medical supplies and medical devices do you have on hand to take care of problems? What happens if there is an economic collapse in this nation and there's no federal funding for hospitals? What will happen to the hospital in your town where you live? We live in just a small little rural community. We have a small hospital, maybe 150 beds at the most they could squeeze into the thing. It's not much more than an accredited first aid center. And if they need to really get medical treatment to someone, they will medevac them out on a helicopter if they have to, if it's bad enough. But what happens if those little places like that close? What happens if you do get to a hospital and, pray tell, you're on a waiting list to be seen? Will you even, if you have an injury or an illness, would you even survive the trip to get to the closest operational medical center? How far would that be? For us, the closest one that would probably remain in operation would probably be close to an hour away. So, are you trained, as someone in your group, someone in your family, trained to handle these kind of medical things? Things that could come up, things that would have to be handled and dealt with. Are you prepared for dental emergencies? Are you prepared for trauma and drama and emotional strain and fatigue, spiritual strain and fatigue? You know, last week I talked about what Christianity would look like during a collapse situation, I did not get one email. Not one. And I've got to admit, I was pretty surprised about that. Because no one seemed to get it. No one seemed to grasp the idea of what I was talking about. When the bottom falls out, when there is an economic collapse, are you going to really be able to say at that point in time you are a Christian, or are you going to turn your back on God, claiming God turned his back on you? What does God owe you? Why does God owe you an easy way out? Huh? God gave us his only begotten Son, that whosoever would believe in him should not perish but have eternal life. What more does God have to do? What more in your mind is God required to do? All he asks is for us to be obedient. If we would be obedient, and if we would have done what God wanted 40 years ago, we would not find ourselves in the mess and in the dilemma that we're in today. But we didn't, and nobody objected then. Nobody cared then. Nobody worried about it then. Now, there's not a lot of people worried about it today, not when you come down to the spiritual side of it. Everybody thinks that they'll be able to get clear of it in a gunfight. Everybody has the attitude that if I've got more bullets, bigger guns, and more of them, then that makes me the winner. You hang on to that thought if you want to. It makes you a bigger target. There's a time and a season for everything, according to the writer of Ecclesiastes. And in that, there's a list of things that's given, and it's not an exclusive list, but it's an inclusive list. And inside of that, there is a time to fight, and there is a time not. Are you smart enough to know the difference? Are you smart enough to pick your battles? Are you smart enough to define the strategy that's going to be needed? Do you care enough? Do you really care enough about your fellow man to worry about the people down the road, to worry about your neighbors? Do you even have any idea whether your neighbors are on board with prepping or not? Do you even care? We need to come back and realize the importance of community. We need to realize how important it is that we have to take care, and we need to take care of people. I'm going to fill you in on a little secret, well, a little bit of information about the pastorate that I have. I have a very small pastorate, but these are some very special people that God has put me with. They are prepper-minded people. All of them are, and I'm thankful for that. They're good old mountain people, all of them. They don't know how to say I quit. They won't ask for a hand up. If you have to watch and check on them. But these folks are older. These folks are in their 50s and 60s and 70s. These folks have worked hard their whole lives, and they've got health problems. Some of them are on oxygen. They've all got something to contribute. Some of them are veterans of foreign wars. They've all got things to contribute, but they don't have the health to see them to fruition. And they need they need to be in a place and within a group of people where they feel protected and where they feel needed. And God, in His infinite wisdom, has placed me among this group of people. You see, my wife and I are empty nesters. That our adult children have our grandchildren, and they have a place in our home and in our hearts. But God has given us this church with these folks because God says they need somebody to take care of them. They need somebody to lead them. They have a lot to offer, but they don't have a lot of strength to see it to fruition. These are people that during difficult times will get forgotten. They're people that don't qualify and don't want social programs. They don't want welfare. They don't want any of the things that go with it. They're not going to go after it. They will find a way. They will do without before they will take handouts. That's just the kind of people they are. Do you think for one moment I'm going to let one of them go without food? They'll go hungry or even cold for that matter. I may not be able to get them medication and things of that nature, but God's given me a responsibility. God's placed me there as their pastor, and as long as I'm there with their pastor, I'm going to be their shepherd, and I'm going to help take care of them in every way I possibly can. Are you someone's shepherd this evening? Who and how many and where are you focusing your attention? It's something to think about. Given the day and the age that we live in, given the behavior and the attitude of the world that's around us, if you took a poll of preppers and asked them how many of them were born-again Christians, probably 85 or more % of them would say that they are. And I'm going to challenge those people right now, and I'm going to ask you this question. If someone knew you were a Christian, was it because they seen it in your actions, or was it because they heard it in your words? Do you have to tell someone you're a Christian before they know it? Or can they tell it by the way you're walking and talking and living and working? That doesn't mean that you can't have your security, doesn't mean you can't have your guns, it doesn't mean you can't enjoy life. Hey, listen, I enjoy life on a daily basis. I laugh, I joke, I have fun, I have friends, all of that. God doesn't hinder any of that in the life of a believer. None of it. None of it. The preppers, you can't fight these kind of battles on your own. You can't fight them solo. You better find yourself a good group of people. You need to find yourself a good church full of preppers. You might have to help them, but there's going to be something that they're going to be there to help you with as well. Prepping is going to come to fruition, and the talkers are going to be separated from the doers. This whole physical cliff stuff is just it's just a big smoke and mirror screen as to what's coming, because if they can't fix the problem inside of 4 years, and if they can't fix it inside of 2 years, if they have to extend it into another presidential term or into another congressional term, folks, you better consider it what it is, which is nothing but smoke and mirrors. We're headed toward some serious economic problems. And I don't know what they're going to be. I'm not going to sit here and try to examine and do all of this and expect that and crunch a number here and place a decimal there. I don't know how it's going to get there. The only thing I can tell you is these people are talking in years that are beyond their control. And when you get outside of their sphere of influence, when you get outside of someone's sphere of influence, everything they have is nothing but talking points. They can put together all of the plans they want to put together, but if it's outside of their sphere of influence, outside of their political terms, it's not going to happen. It won't happen. So, you better take all of that stuff with a grain of salt. You better do what Jesus cautioned and warned and scolded the Pharisees because they didn't do. He told them that they could look to the skies and they could discern the weather, but they could not see the sign of the coming of the Son of Man. You better quit listening to these talking heads and you better look at the sky. You better look at what's going on immediately around you in the day and age that you live in. It makes a difference. It makes a difference, a big difference. Because what you can see immediately coming on the horizon is what you can prepare for. Look on the horizon. Look on the financial horizon. Look on the political horizon. Look on the horizon of what's taking place spiritually in our nation and in our world today. And ask the question, what can I prepare for? Sit down with your family. Men, how long has it been since you and your wife sat down with your children and just explained things to them? Now, you can tell them this is the way it's going to be because I said it's going to be this way, and you can make it happen and everything will be resentful and there'll be problems and there'll be all kinds of things that's going to escalate and come out of it. And you can sit down with your children and you can say, listen, it looks like there's some tough times coming, and you can explain to them why you think that, and you can tell them what needs to be put into place. And you still may meet with resistance. You may meet resistance from your spouse. But nonetheless, you put things in place and do what you can with what you've got. Because when the balloon goes up, it's not going to matter who told you so. It's not going to matter about that. And frankly, if that's all you're worried about, is being able to look someone in the eye and say, ha ha, I told you so, you're into prepping for the wrong reason. You don't even come close to meeting the consideration, the heartfelt consideration that we have toward our fellow man. You're more interested in you. Prepping is not about you. Prepping is about keeping yourself strong and stable so that you can help restore that which has been damaged or destroyed. You become a founding father at that point. When the balloon goes up, when the economy comes down, when our social structure comes down, when our political system comes down, are you going to be one of the founding fathers that's going to help reestablish it and set it in place and set things back in order again? And if you are, what will be your founding principles? Will it be what you want, or will it be something greater than you? I think there's a lot of good people out there today in preppers, in the prepping people. I really do. I think there's a lot of real good preppers out there that care about other people. They care about people in their communities. They care about people in their churches. They care about family members, even family members, community and church members who don't care about them. They still care about them. They still care about those people because, frankly, they know that they don't realize what's going on. They can't see the sky. They can't see the sky. Can you see the sky from where you are? If not, get up and move. Find a different vantage point. Take a good, long, hard look at what's going on around you, what's taking place around you today, and ask yourself the question, am I going to be one of the founding fathers that puts things back on their feet again? Or am I going to be one of the people that helps hold them down because I'm interested in only no one but myself? It's not a difficult thing. It's going to be difficult times. Don't get me wrong. The days and the time and the situation and circumstances that are coming to America are going to be ugly. And in some situations, in some aspects, they will be brutal. But they're coming. And in my opinion, I don't think there's a thing that we're going to be able to do to stop it. If there were, then the political heads in Washington wouldn't be talking 10 years down the road. They would be talking what they could get done inside of their term. They would say, in 4 years, I'm going to have this accomplished. They would say, in 2 years, I'm going to have this accomplished. They would say, we have a plan that will do this and accomplish this in 4 years. Or we have a plan that will accomplish this or save this in 2 years. But they're not. They're extending the benefit and the timeline well down the road into someone else's term. That way, when it doesn't work, well, it wasn't my fault. I put the plan in place and they just didn't administer it correctly. Friends, you can follow that line if you want to. I don't buy it, and I'm not going to. The skies tell me that the bottom's getting ready to fall out. And my Bible tells me that we're living in the latter days. Now, what are you going to do? Where is it going to fit in and fill in your life? If you don't have a church for you and your family to attend, find one. Find one. There's plenty of time right now with the Christmas season. Find a church. Go to a Christmas program at a local church. Find somewhere to go and be a part of it. Fellowship with those people. Learn them. Find a group of people that you love to be with that are like-minded and that love for you to be a part of them, and be there and worship with them. You won't agree with them on everything, and they won't agree with you on everything. But bless God, it's time to put those kind of petty things aside and be people of God, and be Americans, and be citizens, and look for the greater good of our nation and of our people and of who we are. If you're a Christian and a professing Christian tonight, quit talking about it and start living it. That's the challenge I put before you. If you do have a home church that you go to, if you do have a home church that you're a part of, a group of people that you love to be around and that love to be around you, then fellowship with them and thank God for them and start reaching out to them. It makes a big, big difference. The friends, I want to run the announcement for PPRN News and for the upcoming contest. Stay tuned and listen. Before we sign off, I want you to listen to this very special announcement.
For starters, this is not Barack Obama. The Prepper Podcast Radio Network has started a drawing for a High Point 45 caliber handgun provided to them by MKS Supply. Now, I have the power to take that gun away from you because the United Nations has given me that power. I don't need Congress, and I don't need the Constitution. All I need is a reason to take away your weapons. So, if you're feeling lucky, go to prepperpodcast.com. That's PREPPER-PODCAST, prepperpodcast.com to see the rules, terms and conditions, and to enter the drawing. When I take away your guns, your Bibles might be next. Again, this is not Barack Obama.
So, are you going to enter? Are you going to enter the drawing? I hope so. I certainly hope so, and I want to wish you the very best of luck. And please, again, be responsible. If you win, be responsible and handle it and be safe with it and keep it out of the hands of those people who don't have any business handling a firearm. And remember, those are your liberals. They don't have any business. Firearms are dangerous in the hands of a liberal. They don't know how to handle them. They're not interested in learning how to handle them. Like I said earlier, they don't even have good command of the English language yet. Also, those individuals who take life as a video game keep a firearm out of their hands as well. Only in the hands of a trained, qualified, and competent individual should a firearm be. And I hope you're that kind of person. Well, listen, folks. Go to prepperpodcast.com. There are plenty, and I mean plenty, of good links there for the prepping community. You can find this show there on prepperpodcast.com. Listen to it anytime you want. It should be archived there. Plenty of other broadcasts there that deal with prepping. A lot of good folks here on PPRN, and they're all good, kind, considerate people, intelligent people, knowledgeable people, good wisdom and knowledge. So tell your friends, tell them about Soul Survivor Radio, tell them about this broadcast, especially your Christian friends. I would love to have a fellowship here every Sunday night with like-minded believers that are interested in prepping, interested in taking care of their fellow man, interested in being safe for their families and for those around them. Folks, spread the news. Spread the news. Listen, our time has came and gone. I trust that something has been said, something has been brought out, something has came up to lift up Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior, and to help you become a better prepper, a more responsible citizen, and a more sound and spiritually guided patriot for the day and the age that we live in. Until next week, God bless you is my prayer.
Are you sick and tired of having your First Amendment harassed or censored on Facebook? Use no more, as we now have a new alternative to Facebook. It's called Awareness Act. Awareness Act is a social network designed for patriots, to be used by patriots, and is ran by patriots. Stand up and help in the fight to protect your constitutional rights. Patriots can create pages, blogs, videos, documents, articles, and so much more. We even have a unique news feed system that allows you to share, read, or connect with any patriot on Awareness Act. We are a dedicated tool for patriots to use against the tyranny our Constitution is facing. So if you're tired of having your rights infringed upon, come check us out at www.awarenessact.com. Again, that is www.awarenessact.com, the social network for patriots, not potatoes.
Whether you take me for the fool, I know that I can be. Whether you see me eye to eye.
The new Be Prepared for Christmas package from Sun Ovens contains everything you need to harness the power of the sun for cooking, water, and dehydrating. The perfect gift for the preppers or outdoor enthusiast on your shopping list. A sun oven uses the sun's power to bake, boil, or steam food, heat water for purification or personal hygiene, or solar dehydrate. When you use the sun's power on sunny days, you preserve your fuel storage for rainy days. Sun-baked foods retain moisture, have less shrinkage, and do not burn. Sun-baked roasts are tastier and more succulent, and sun-baked bread has unparalleled taste and texture. The new Be Prepared for Christmas package lets you roast an 18-pound turkey. For the past 26 years, Sun Ovens has been proudly made in the U.S., are durable, and have a long life and come with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Don't be fooled by cheap imitations. For a discount coupon, visit sunoven.com/podcast. That's sunoven.com/podcast.
This is KPRN-DB, broadcasting worldwide from Southeast Oklahoma, USA to parts unknown.